Good morning. Please all be seated, and thank you so much for being with us this morning. Following the Quaker tradition of the college, would you please join me for a moment of silence? Thank you very much. Members of the Board of Managers and Corporation, Provost and President-designate Kim Benston, Bryn Mawr College President Kim Cassidy, Haverford faculty and staff, distinguished friends, parents, family, and guests, members of the class of 2015. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the Haverford Commencement exercises for the class of 2015 in the college's 182nd year. So welcome. To begin our program, I'd like to invite Professor Ashok Gangadine to the podium.
Thank you, Dan. Greetings, graduating seniors. It has been my pleasure witnessing and participating in a remarkable journey over the past 4 years, seeing you grow and blossom, finding your voices, and arriving now at this important commencement life shift and rite of passage. I felt moved on this occasion to reflect for a moment with you as you now make that crossing beyond our Haverford sanctuary, out there to the real world. And I focus now on a question that many of you have been asking repeatedly and with a certain urgency. Many of you have been immersed in different aspects of global wisdom and awakened intelligence, and you engaged urgent issues in global ethics, the wisdom of Socrates and Plato, and other wisdom teachers, as they opened space to awakened rational life in the Logos, the enlightenment of Buddha urging us to mindful living, the teachings of Lord Krishna in the Gita to mature as humans through the awakening technology of yoga wisdom, the advanced teachings of mindful Zen life, to mention a few. And in entering these powerful awakening wisdom labs, many of you found that when you were in peak experiences, heightened awareness, peak performance is in the zone as scholar athletes, on the fields, at work and play. As a performing artist in peak mindful moments in your creative work, in these diverse peak moments of engaged living, you recognized that these were embodied moments of mindful living urged by our great wisdom endowment through the ages. Such moments of peak experience in being in the zone were PowerPoints where you felt you embodied the great call of our wisdom teachers to heightened awareness and engaged mindful living. And you began to learn that our great teachers through the ages have been urging us to mature as whole humans in sustainable and ever-deepening patterns of mindful and heads-up living. This is the mindful art of being a human, living lives that speak. And many of you were deeply moved by this call, but naturally wondered if it is possible to sustain a life in the zone out there in the real world. It's one thing to have spontaneous episodes of peak moments within the protected sanctuary of Haverfields. But how is it possible? Is it possible to sustain an awakened mindful life in the zone, out there in the real world? This is the haunting question that many of you puzzle over, especially now that you're ready to make that crossing. And this is a concern you often raise, which I wish to reflect upon with you for a brief moment. For when we stand back and take a deeper look at the dilated intelligence being embodied in such peak moments of heightened awareness, when we are at our personal best, it's clear that we are tapping our great wisdom endowment of the ages, calling us to our highest fulfillment as awakened, engaged, and mindful humans. And of course, this is the endowment at the heart of what is highest and best in our Haverford ethos, Quaker values, and noble liberal arts tradition, educating for leadership and service and lives that speak. This great wisdom endowment empowers us to see systemic connections between mindful, engaged living, our cherished honor code, the intelligence and art of deep dialogue, where we recognize that we are dialogue humans, I-thou beings, deeply connected to our other, where our awakened rational life in the Logos, we understand that all life is sacred, and in mature moral consciousness, it is a form of violence to objectify ourself and other in our human relations. It's clear in this heightened awareness in the zone that we live in intensified situational awareness and called to collaborative creativity and courageous innovation to meet the unprecedented challenges we now face. In this mindful ethos of a life in deep dialogue across borders, the true ethos of diversity ignites, and the open-minded virtues of community building and global citizenship flourish. And this heightened rational intelligence of mindful heads-up awareness is a highest form of creative activism in the marketplace. In this light, when we focus on our current state of the real world out there, it is clear that our cultures are in crisis. Facing unprecedented challenges, the real world is subreal in many ways and needing urgent care and healing medicine of awaking deep dialogue humans who live and embody the literacy and creative intelligence of mindful and heightened awareness. At every turn in our surrounding cultures, we see violent breakdowns in human relations. We see the failure of the ethos of real diversity. We see patterns of humans objectifying themselves and others. We see fragmentation and polarization in the civic spaces where true open-minded dialogue and mutual respect across borders fail. The challenges are enormous, and in every corner of our cultures we see dominant patterns of monologue, localized tribal or myopic thinking crying out for mindful humans with situational awareness who embody the medicine of engaged dialogue humans living in the zone. As you are now poised for your rite of passage to a new phase of your life, I felt moved to share my sense that your journey through our Haverford ethos over the past 4 years has prepared you for this passage to the next stage of your continued liberal arts learning, K through 90, to facilitate through your mindful activism to help make the real world get real. So I'm not so much concerned about whether you are well prepared to take on the real world out there, but more whether the world out there is ready for you. And so I join my colleagues, your professors, your parents, family, and friends gathered here to celebrate your life shift rite of passage. And we wish you a mindful, high-voltage, situationally aware, heads-up, proactive life of courageous and creative leadership in service in whatever path you may take. We wish you a wonderful, flourishing, and fulfilling life. So go for it and stay in the zone.
Thank you very much, Ashok. It is now my pleasure to invite